to another episode of Legacy Speaks. Today I'm bringing you another installment of the Mind Your Business series. If this is your first time watching the channel, welcome. Mind Your Business is all about getting a chance to sit down with entrepreneurs, creatives, and influencers. So today we're going to have Mr. MJ Bridges. He is the creator and the mastermind behind Young and Debt Free. And so I'm super excited because I got a chance to meet him at an event where we was talking about finances, particularly as a millennial. And his story is just simply amazing. So welcome, MJ.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
So MJ, let the people know a little bit about you, who you are, and why being young and debt free is so important.
Wow, MJ Bridges, from Racine, Wisconsin, Wisconsin stand-up Midwest. We're a city that's south of Milwaukee, a little north of Chicago, so if you don't know where that is, but we're right in between the cities. And I say that because that's my culture. I'm between two major cities in the Midwest. Came down to Atlanta in 2013. I've been in public education, a math teacher, teaching high school math. And I ended up on the side of the road here in Atlanta, broke in a lot of debt. And so I started this campaign sort of to talk about debt and how us as millennials are handling debt and finances. I just realized that I suck with money. Money always came in. I always had opportunity to make money, but it just always went out, or I was buying so many things that I really did not need. Some more things about me. I love running. I'm a marathoner. I ran one marathon, and so I'm very proud of that. That happened during this journey. Running is my, not only to keep me healthy, but also it's just a time where I emotionally and mentally get into myself. And so, especially when I run into new neighborhoods, I get that runner's high, like something just happens. I know it's so weird. I love running through new neighborhoods around the city of Atlanta. Also, I'm big into like self-development, self-help, like digging into your strengths and your weaknesses. So Strength Finder 2.0, I love stuff like that. To help you understand really who you are. I'm big into stuff like that. I value community, I value family, I value helping people, and I value education. So that's who I am.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
One thing that I love about your overall story is the fact that you realize that, dang, I really suck at money management. And then ironically, you're now a teacher, a math teacher. And so, and obviously it takes some level of math in order to manage your finances and whatnot. And so it's like, how has that been, like that journey for you?
Oh man, I think the first thing was like acceptance. Like, so thank you. Like, it was like, yo, I suck, I need help. I really need to sit back and see what's going on, because I've always had opportunities where even things were paid for. Y'all, I came out of college, now get this, with only $3,000 in debt. So how in the world have I accumulated nearly $70,000 since then?
Wow.
Okay, like more than that now, because I'm like near to where I think the max would be near $100,000, and I get to that. But so something was wrong. You know, I did so many bad things with money, and once I accepted that, I went home. I remember that weekend after I was on the side of the road. I was on I-20 in Atlanta on the side of the road, and my gas was out. And I went home and I accepted my debt. And that was when I really pulled up my credit report, and creditreport.com, everyone, you can pull up your credit report for free. And I sat there and I accepted, like, this was mine. Like, I didn't blame anyone. I didn't say, oh, I shouldn't have done this. I didn't want to dig, like, ball down and regret either. I was like, no, this is mine. This is mine. This is mine, and I'm going to pay it off. I'm a believer in paying off your debts. Some people, believe it or not, I talk to them like, I'm just not going to pay it, or I just pay the minimum until I die. You know, I have people who's like that, and I'm like, I'm going to pay my stuff off. So once I accepted that, then it just became number crunching. It became just addition and subtraction, and then some compound interest, of course. I find that I didn't know my interest rates on a lot of my credit cards, and so simply going to my bills and going to my statements, oh, this was my interest rate, or calling them and asking them, because I didn't know. I was just swiping and making sure I paid the minimum, and that was it. And so that was also the problem.
I think what's really cool also about your story is the fact that oftentimes when we're as students, particularly when we're recent graduates, we automatically assume that, hey, we're gonna have more of the student loan debt rather than the consumer debt. And like your story kind of like breaks the typical mold because it's just like you literally came out of college with only $3,000. Only $3,000. And so how did you get caught up in consumer debt, or how can somebody become caught up in consumer debt?
Yeah, living beyond your means. So what does that look like? Stunting. That was stunting for me. That was taking too many trips. That was also just mismanaging credit cards. So I had credit cards. So I say the positive and then the negative with that. I had credit cards since freshman year of college. The positive was I always paid them on time, never had a late payment. I established great credit history, but then they keep giving you more. So they keep giving you more, and I was like, oh, like, so I left college with probably like a credit limit of like $15,000, and I probably only had debt though, like I probably only used like $1,500. No, raised it to about $4,000 because I had to move myself to Indianapolis. So I graduated from Alabama State in Montgomery, my master's in Indianapolis. So I had to move myself. I had car trouble, I had a very old car, things like that. Yeah. But it's still a little amount of debt compared to, of course, what it grew to. So I kept getting these credit cards, and I kept letting my limit rise, and I didn't know how to manage that with the salary that I had. So I was living way beyond my means. I was also just rushing. Like, you know, you get out of college and you get your first apartment, and you're like, it's just really this nice. I went and bought like brand new furniture. It was just so stupid because to this day I just gave it all away. Equipment, like big expensive cameras and stuff. I started doing some YouTube videos. So it just became like I wanted to make it back to every trip and do everything. Car trouble, but mismanagement of, I think, credit cards, or in conjunction to living beyond my means, that was how it happened. And then I had additional student loans through my master's program. Now my master's, I took out about $27,000 for my master's. Now mind you, I'm a math teacher in high school, so they are supposed to pay back $17,500 after you teach 5 consecutive years. Years, and I didn't get that because my third year of teaching, when I moved down to Atlanta, I didn't start teaching until October, and yes, the federal government said that you cannot get that because you missed the first 9 weeks of school, so that didn't deem it as consecutive. So that was money that I just thought I was getting back, and so that's what kind of bumped my student loans up to $30,000 at that time. Right.
What about your dad made you not want to settle? Because oftentimes, like you said, a lot of us, we think that being in debt is a lifestyle. Like this is just a part of life. This is a part of adulting.
Good question.
And you were just like, no, I don't want this to be a part of my narrative.
Thank you. I like that question. I had a dream. I have a vision. And I talk about strengths finder. My top strength is futuristic. So I can paint a picture of my future. And that's one thing that I did when I got down, when I was by myself. I said, what do I want to be, right? We asked some questions 5-10 years from now. There's this activity that changed my life. That was an entrepreneur out of Ann Arbor, Michigan. He owned a coffee shop and things like that, millionaire guy. And he sat us down and he said, I want you to vision your life in the future. But instead of writing that company style vision, I want you to really illustrate, like put yourself into your vision. So I wrote 7 to 10 years out about being debt free and what that really looks like. And it went kind of like this. I woke up this morning, like it was, I don't know, let's say January of 2023. I got out of bed. It's 4:50 a.m. and as I get out of bed, the floor is really cold. Like I really detailed everything. I went to the restroom and I brushed my teeth and washed my face and I got ready because this morning I'm going to run 7 miles. I love these morning runs, the cold air, the quietness of the city, the lights that's still going on. After my run, I came back and I made my toast and I got my eggs. Like I really illustrated this day in the future of me being there. And that day, I I knew to get to that day, then I had to break down the goals. And one of the big goals was remove the baggage. What was the baggage? Debt. Like, I had to remove the debt to get to that day in the future. And so that's what really is the core of my motivation, is that day in the future, to where I can wake up and I don't necessarily have to go to my 9 to 5. I can wake up and I can say, hey, this morning I'm going on my morning run. I'm doing what I want to do, and I'm going to work when I want to work, as much as I can, you know. So that's kind of what motivated me. Yeah, my vision.
The reason why that resounds so much with me, and the reason why I use the word narrative, is because in therapy there's this thing called narrative therapy. It's a branch where they get the client or the individual to pretty much visualize their ideal self and create a story that they can eventually work towards. Wow. And so the fact that you literally took every little detail, that is super, super amazing.
Oh, wow, you got me feeling good. It's called narrative therapy?
Yes.
Wow, thank you.
And it helps with like unpacking a lot of like trauma and baggage and things of that nature. And so when you were talking about that, all I could think about is freedom. Like, that was your ideal self, and you really reached for that.
Wow, thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you.
But underneath that, I also heard baggage, and even though you saw your debt as baggage, it also sounds like you had some underlying baggage as well. I've had acceptance of my sexuality. I was going through a lot of like who am I, like moments. Who am I? Because in 2012, I broke up with a girl. And that was like a pivotal moment, because I broke her heart. And then 2, I like went through a small depression like after that. It was while I was the last year in Indianapolis before I came down here. That's a part of the process. That's where a lot of my debt started. And it was then too, I was trying to identify like, I'm bisexual, am I gay, I need to accept this. And so I had to go back a lot to pain that I had in the past with my family. I had a formal meeting, breakfast with my mom and dad, you know, and I was like I was encouraged by a friend at the time to do that. And it was very powerful to sit back. I talked about some things that happened when I was a child, some abuse that happened, and some things that kind of led me to all this pain in a way, and even it related to how my spending habits. You know, it related to me trying to kind of be in the forefront, or always the friend to say, oh, I got everything, I got it, or I'll take care of it. I can relate it to some pain I had from the past. So I had a lot of stress because of my sexuality. Still, I needed to hear some sorries and forgiveness from my family. My father is back in prison. My father been in prison. I'm 30. Been in prison like 24 years of my life, back and forth. And so I needed to hear, you know, some things about like the decisions he made. My aunt raised me since I was 10. So my mom and dad just went through that little drug cycle, if you will, that was going on in the late 70s and 80s. And so, and I never, in my mind, I was like, I know they love us, you know, I know without a doubt, and they're human, and we do things as humans, and you know, and it affects your kids, but I knew they loved me, but I still needed to hear like sorry, honestly, like it was like when you heard that, a lot of it just went away. A lot of my pain and things that I was going through went away. It was a new start for me, a fresh start. And then in Atlanta, when I was here, the running helped. I started running. I started going to book club. So I went to the self-development book club. Shout out to Define Book Club. And it really helped. And I was reading those books on mindset and thinking big and Think and Grow Rich and those type of books that not only helped me with money, but it helped me again go into myself and go, okay, the past is really the past. Like, you have today, and you have a choice to smile and be happy. And what I did to help heal anything I was going through, then I learned from them, like journaling. So I was watching a Super Soul Sunday episode. Shout out to Oprah.
And again, so I'm big on this stuff. And Sean Aker has a book called The Happiness Advantage. People always talk about my happiness, as I haven't really, had a bad day in 4 years. I had bad moments, but I never have a bad day. And I remember I said on Instagram, and I got like a flood of messages in my DM, like, dude, how you not ever have a bad day? And I said, well, I have bad moments, trust me, it's life. But I don't allow the day to be bad because I do a little self-reflection. So now I don't live in the past, but I just reflect by journaling. And so I write down, and I give myself prompts. 5 things that made me smile.
Yeah.
Like that, something so small could take you 40 seconds to jot down. It changes the whole narrative of the day. Like, it's like, oh, the day really was good. Like, I was just tripping, like, for that 20 minutes during lunch. Like, it was a really good day.
Right.
And it was those things that helps me smile today.
Right. And it also sounds like you got a sense of gratitude because even in the midst of you trying to achieve like this sense of forgiveness from the people that you feel may have abandoned you or neglected you or
Perfect words.
Yeah. But you have been able to build resiliency by being thankful in the now.
Yes.
And that's beautiful.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I like how you said that. Thank you. Yes.
No problem. Dang, that was real dope, man.
You a counselor.
I do this for real. With the journaling and whatnot and the running, how has that been able to shape the young debt and free? How has that been able to grow your brand? Because obviously, like, you be hustling, MJ. And obviously with the running, that builds your stamina to go do what you gotta do. So like, can you explain to the people your type of hustles that you do?
Yeah. So the running and journaling helps because it keeps me positive, keeps me grateful, it keeps me in the now. It keeps me like, oh, everything is good because it's been difficult, y'all. I've been on this journey 5 years this month. So we just right here. 5 years, we in February. 5 years, I started on February, March, of this debt elimination journey. And I thought I was gonna be done a year ago, a year and a half ago. So there's been so many setbacks. And so the running and journaling just helped me be like, okay, yes, this happened. Yes, I am pissed. Especially with the federal government, y'all. That's teaching on forgiveness. That was just like, I went to bat with them too. So, but I'm happy I'm able to tell my story to really help other people. Like, yo, you really have to read the language with any teacher loan forgiveness. They have public service loan forgiveness. You have to read into what they're saying because they would easily reject you. And there was just a recent article out like 3 or 4 months ago that 90% of the people who applied for public service loan forgiveness, because it started in 2007. Yeah. So the 10 years came in 2017. So in 18, they finally got the data that said 90% of people who applied first in 2007, they didn't even get it.
That's correct.
So my heart to y'all.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. But the running and journaling helps young and debt free because it helps me stay sane and it helps me with my setbacks in the journey, because you're gonna have setbacks on your journey. Your car, something's gonna happen to the car. Your family, I've had some unexpected deaths. You have to go back home, and that's just kind of money that you may have in your emergency, but you keep digging into it because things happen. So a job even now, I've been grateful to where I've never really had to really look for a job being a high school math teacher, but I've done things like quit my job because I thought I was going to be done, and I jumped too far ahead. Do not jump too far ahead, guys. Keep your job as long as you can. Stack your money until you really got income coming in with this entrepreneurship thing. Like, I really got it, and you really got a big savings. I don't know X amount of dollars mean to you, but anyway, so I would quit, and then I end up back like living on my savings or something, like, because I was like, oh, I'm cool. I only got like $10,000 left to pay. I'm gonna quit my job, like, and I really do. But anyways, but Young and Debt Free started with that. Just the story of us, like, you see that there's some of us who's fortunate and has no debt. There's a lot of us millennials who are like, look, we got like 60, 70,000, all the clients and people I've talked to, and what do we do? And they have a hard time unpacking. Yeah. Or it's such a big amount, right? It's like, at one time seeing it. And so I just started talking about it on social media. Then a frat brother of mine who's into finance called me and was like, yo, all your energy, and you a teacher, and this, and you need to do these workshops. And I'm like, you think so? And he's on the other side of the game where he's into major investments and he has all these wealthy clients. And so he's like, but our community, they don't know.
Right.
They really don't know how to sit down and tackle a budget and create a budget. And you have successfully done so, clearly. And so that's when I was like, yeah. So I started creating curriculum, and I had the first opportunity to go. So I wasn't sure what to do. I started doing videos. I was just doing videos online, this. But it was an opportunity. I went into Georgia Tech. Shout out to Tier from Moves and Pacers. She was like, why don't you come to my class? And there's freshmen at Georgia Tech, and just talk to them kind of about what you're doing or money management. I was like, well, I don't know, But when I went in there, it was that moment where I was like, oh, this is what I need to be doing.
Yes.
Because I'm a teacher, it made sense. And this is out of that college crowd, that young millennial crowd. This is where I need to be. So that's fast forward, podcasts later, and speaking engagements later, and things like that. Kind of in this predicament now with the brand.
And I mean, that's exactly how purpose is birthed. We have like this pain, and then we find ways to be able to pass on that knowledge to the next generation. So thank you so much for what you're doing for the next generation of college students, because obviously as we go on and on, the tuition in the United States is going to continue to rise, and it's going to become more of a detriment to the next generation in comparison to us, and it really sucks.
It sucks.
It really does. And then, when we have that large amount, like you said, you really don't know how to tackle it because you become so overwhelmed. Particularly when you're coming from, low socioeconomic communities, or like you already see like the poverty mindset, and then that transitions. Because most of the time when we go to college, I know for me, when I would get like my Pell Grant money and whatnot, it's like either I'm sending it back home, or I don't know what to do with it, so I'm gonna blow it because I never had this much money to begin with, So if you can get into these schools, get into these spaces where you're teaching the next generation about finances and personal finances and how to invest and how to save early on, like that's simply amazing.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, I feel for them. I go over to the AUC a lot, and so if you know, that's the black colleges here in Atlanta. And they're all private, Morehouse, Spelman, Clark, Atlanta. And those kids as sophomores and juniors, they act like having $60,000 of debt. And it just breaks my heart when I'm in there talking to them. And I'm happy to be there, but I just like get so shaken. Like, 'cause I'm like, they just knew to go to college. And some of their parents don't know, right? You come from those socioeconomic backgrounds, and your parents, they're the first generation college students.
Right.
And you were just told to go to college, but they don't really know the significance of like what this debt's gonna mean. And so it's just very important to just keep this conversation going and try to find solutions rather than paying it off or other ways to avoid it.
Are there any other coping mechanisms that has helped you be able to continue on the path that you're on? I understand that you found a place of like consistent motivation, but you're literally like a couple months shy of your goal. How are you going to continue? What is life going to look like after you achieve that goal?
You know what? I don't know. And someone, I think, sort of asked me a question similar. They were like, MJ, what you gonna do with all this energy and all this? And I sat down, because how I answered it was I think it was a little cliche. It was something I would have said 2 years ago. I was like, well, I want a talk show. I always thought I have a talk show. Or I used to be a DJ, so I'm always in front of people. Used to host talent shows and stuff like that. And I bring that up because that is something that I know I'm still passionate about. So young and debt free, the ideal, right, was to have this life where I was living my passions. I think on my website it was about how do I create a lifestyle of passion? And I realized that we have so many passions and so many talents, and they get away from us, right? Life happens, debt happens, whatever, you start having the families, whatever it makes, something happens where I'm realizing like, when I was 13, like I was really passionate about this, and I know it still lives in me. And I'm like, and they got away because of studies or whatever, I had to get a formal job in this. And not saying I'm not still passionate about teaching math, but I have other passions. So I'm like, how do I create a lifestyle to do the other passions? So I said, wait, let me get rid of all the debt to decrease my bills from 18 bills to 7.
Right.
And so then I have more money, more space and opportunity to really get into my talents and my passions. So that is what my life will look like. It'll be a life of me exploring my talents and passions, and then trying to merge it into with something I can make money with.
Right.
And so and I have yet to determine what that's gonna look like. I just know that once I get there, I'll finally start putting some pieces together, and then get some people around me to help me with that.
Right. The reason why I ask that is because free is so subjective, and the sense of freedom can be like a double-edged sword. You have all this time to be able to commit to, just exploring the new you. But then if you have too much free time, then it becomes idle time, and then your mind starts wandering. You fall back into the same habits. So that's why I was just like, I wonder what's life going to be like for you.
Yeah, good question. I just think, again, it's more of about trying to explore my talents. And I like that because you just helped me with something. And I'm hoping me developing a team too will keep me accountable and just moving. Because there's people who hit me in this, and I'm like, hit me up, and I'm like, yo, wait, like, let me get done first. Like, I don't want to scream young and debt free, and I'm not young and debt free. I was like, and I've had so many setbacks. I'm like, so let me get done, and then I want to build through my talents and passions, and that's what I want life to be like. Yeah,
that's amazing. And I know this will probably be like the last question, but what are 3 things that you would give to that young MJ that was on the side of the road?
Oh wow. Forgive the past. Like, forgiveness is like one of the best things that I've ever done. Like, and when I can go and say, like, it's okay, like, like my parents in particular, like that, that childhood pain or trauma that you go through. I think once I forgave them, that really put a weight off of me. And then know that you're enough. Like, so secondly, like self-love, like know that you're enough. I've looked so many days in the mirror saying that, yo, it's okay that I'm a black gay male. Like, it's okay, like the world is not ending. Like God loves me. It's cool. Like you're still yourself. Like, and I always thought I was just gonna lose people because of that. Like, it was just really strange. But that's the mentality that I grew up in. And number 3, slow down. Slow down. Like, I've rushed so much, and it has caused so much death. Like, trying to rush, trying to look a certain way. Trying to like say, like, at this age, you know how we put that, this age, that, so
that timeline.
That timeline, like, slow down, chill out. Yeah, it's gonna happen. Like, just be cool. You good. Like, so forgiveness. So ways of self-love, if I can say that. Number 2, like self-love, knowing that you're enough. Like, you're enough. Like, and lastly, just slow down. Like, there's no need to rush. Like, that's what I say.
Yay.
Thank you. This was the time. How we flow.
MJ, let the people know where they can find you.
Yeah, Instagram is the best place. Like, I have on IG, y'all, and it's my journey. So, a Young and Debt Free ATL. That's all together. Young and Debt Free ATL. Or on my website, www.younganddebtfree.com. That's where you can find me. And just hit me up. I'm just fun spirit. I like to think I am, at least. And you'll just see me on my debt-free journey as we go to July 15th. Y'all pray for me. It's my big day. I'm waiting on one contract, but I'm very confident it's happening. And I'll be done with nearly $100,000 of debt over time.
Yeah.
Not at all one time, but because of so many setbacks and car maintenance, when you add that to it, it's like, it reached over 100,000. But yeah, it's almost there. So I'm excited.
That's awesome. Guys, definitely please be sure to connect with him and go check out his journey because it's simply amazing. I'm super excited for you. Thank you so much, MJ, for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
You guys do not forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and definitely stay connected via Legacy SPKS on everything. Until next time.